This week we are making a unicorn themed cupcake cone with a rainbow pattern inside. What could be better? My name is Lori and you're watching The Icing Artist. To get that awesome rainbow pattern inside the cone, I whipped up a batch of my thick vanilla cake batter. You're gonna wanna make a thick recipe and I'll explain that in a minute. I dyed my batter pink, blue, yellow, and purple, you know, unicorn's favorite colors. No, we're gonna be baking these actual cupcakes right inside of those cones. So just using some small spoons, I just added little bits of each color of cake batter into my cone, and that's gonna really help make that marble look on the inside. I used thick batter so that way my colors didn't marble too much because I really wanted to see that purple and blue and yellow streaks going right through the cone. If it was a thin batter, it would kind of all blend together and you might end up with that like icky brown color when all the colors blend and they look terrible. So that's why I went with my thick one. I'll leave a recipe in the description. And I just filled the batter right up to that almost little perfectly placed fill line that's on the cone. I just placed all of my cupcake cones into a cupcake tray and baked that at 350 for about 18 minutes until they were perfectly done. Now while those cool, let's work on our decorations. For our unicorn's ear, I'm just gonna roll out some white fondant and cut out some circles. I'm gonna do the same thing with my pink fondant and then just layer those up together with a little bit of water. I understand this looks nothing like an ear, but it will in a second. Stick around. Now I take those little circles and I pinch them with my fingers and just kind of stretch them out a little. That helps make kind of little points on the ends. I then cut the circle in half, add a little bit of water on the edge of it, and pinch it together to make the cutest little mini ear. This technique works great. I'm just gonna set those aside and get started on my unicorn horns. Now using some yellow fondant, I just rolled my fondant into kind of a log shape, except I tapered both of the ends on kind of a long taper going outwards. I then cut that in half and I lined up the two kind of tapered edges of it and then made sure that they were the same length. If you're like me and suck at cutting things in half, you're gonna wanna make sure they're the same length. It just makes your life easier. Now with one hand, I kind of held those two fat edges together and twisted with my other hand until it twisted right down to the tip and made the perfect little unicorn spiral. And I just cut that to length. Now to give it that golden unicorn look, I'm just gonna use some edible gold dust. Now I use yellow fondant for mine because I figured you're already on the way of making them gold with doing a yellow tone instead of white, and you get a much nicer gold color. I use the same trick when I'm making anything silver. I start out with the gray fondant, and that way when you're dusting in silver, you've kind of already got that base color going. Little trick. But I love how this metallic color kind of just brings it together. Now for the icing, I want it to be the same color as the color we did inside the cone. So I dyed that pink, blue, yellow, and purple. And I got out my favorite cupcake swirl piping tip, which is the one piping tip. You guys watch my videos, you know I love this piping tip. It just makes the cutest little cupcake swirl. But this is not going to be any kind of swirl. This is unicorn. It's got to be special. So I'm gonna marble all of those colors together in the same piping bag. I'm just gonna add each color kind of on the edge. And I was super careful while adding them into the bag that there was an even amount of each color and that went right down to the tip and just kind of topped it off until it was perfectly full. Okay, for one, I love these colors. They're so pastel and so pretty. For two, I love the marbled look of this bag. It's so cute. Then I just squeezed the bag until I saw all of the colors coming through so that way I don't end up with like just blue or pink on the cupcake because the icing wasn't down to the tip. You can pipe the perfect little marbled swirl by icing the cupcake one full circle one way and then twisting the cone and finishing up the next circle. Then you get all those colors coming through. And of course I had to add on some unicorn dust, which is really just some edible shimmer dust, which looks so cute as unicorn dust. Add on those little horns that we made and those little ears, and you are done these adorable cupcakes. I have never baked cupcake cones before, but my favorite part has to be this little marble color in the middle. Look how cool that is. I will for sure be using this again. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to come back here again next week so we can make something else in the cake. Bye guys.